All right, so this is the solution for homework from the error handling in ETL phases 1 and 2 section of the course. We've got our data downloaded here. Let's go ahead and put it into a project folder. So I have a folder here for homework. I'm going to create a new copy of our project template, give it today's date. It is already September, and we're going to give it a name. So let's call it homework ETL phases 1 and 2. And here we've already got all of the file structure or folder structure that we need. Let's copy this file into the original data. Once again, we're not going to touch it here. We're going to make a copy and put it into prepared folder. So if we open up now, we can see that here we've got a lot of columns, quite a few. And then we've got the 3 columns that we definitely need at the end over here. And we've already looked at the number of rows. That's cool. So let's commence this whole process. What do we do first? First of all, we need to rename the file to txt, right? So that we can open it in Excel. I've got Excel over here. Let's open it up. Open. And all files, there it is. So this brings up the text import wizard. Of course, it's going to be delimited. It's going to be comma delimited. Next, make sure that all of these are selected and select text, finish. All right, so our data is in the file, is in Excel. And now we can perform what we normally do, is look for dollar amounts, no dollar amounts here, and all the dates. So that doesn't count because that's just, we'll leave it as a text. This one, we're going to change into the correct format. So this is good practice. We're going to go to text to columns. We're going to change this delimited, no delimiter, finish, change date. So here it looks like month, day, year. So let's change that. Finish. Good. Now we need the correct format for the database, the canonical format. So we're going to go custom YYY MMDD. There we go. So that's ready. Okay, so this is our Excel file. We can save it as a CSV file. So we'll leave that one there. Now we're going to go and save another one here. CSV. Awesome. Yes, that's okay. Okay, that's done. So let's close that. Well, you don't have to save again. Don't worry. There we go. So now we can open it up. Have a look. Have a look here. So thing that we should notice right away, probably like a quick caveat, that this is the same as what we did before. We can see here that now new columns have appeared. This is an empty column. This is another empty column. So Excel has added empty columns here for us, and that is saving us from rows being eaten up by other rows. And we talked about this in the course. So that's just something to notice here. What we're going to do now is we're going to start uploading the file, right? So we're going to go to uploaded data, copy that, give it a name. So that's where we're going to put our file. Let's go get it. There we go. So now we can proceed to SSIS. I'm launching Microsoft Visual Studio, the shell. Okay, so let's create a new project here. Integration Services Project. Let's call this one Homework ETL phases 1 and 2. Maybe let's expand that. Data flow task. All right, we're going to try to do this as quick as possible. One time I timed myself, but for a simpler task, of course. I got it down to like 49 seconds, I think. That was pretty fast. Anyway, flat file source. Yep, obviously we always need a flat file source, always need a destination. And as we already know, we're going to have two conditional splits. Other transforms, where are our conditional splits? Because we're going to have two of them, because we want to take out bad records. We want to take out records that don't have sufficient information. Next, we're going to flat file destination. That's where one type of error is going to go. That's where the other type of error is going to go. So everything's ready. First, we start with the source, right? So where's our folder? There's our folder. Go back here, create a new flat file connection manager, browse, looking for it, CSV file, there it is. Text qualifier, columns, look through the columns. As we can see, those two empty columns have been indeed added. That you have to make in your prepared data. So let's go ahead and have a look here. So here you go, number, gender, title, name, address. So that's our problem. They're the same. We have to fix this. We are in the prepared data folder, so we can fix it right away in this CSV file in Notepad++. The first one here, Natasha, Nathan, Chan, Innocent, Valentine, those are first names. Second one is surnames. So let's change this. Surname. Save that, right? Just save that, all right. In the course, we first looked at rows that had insufficient data. So let's go ahead and do the same here. So this is going to be insufficient data. And condition here is going to be that one of our columns is empty, one of the critical columns. So let's use len and look at our critical columns. They're here. Blood type, right? Equals 0 or, so you can type these up yourself. You don't have to drag them from there if you know them. So where are we? Blood type, yep. Kilograms equals 0 or finally, so which one? Len? Centimeters. Centimeters equals 0. Okay, so the thing you should notice here is that because our critical columns are at the very end, we're going to have a bit of an overlap between errors where there's insufficient data and errors where there is a bad record. And that's just and I might just zoom in a little bit so we see how we're going. And so far so good. We've got some insufficient data piling up here, some bad records, which only includes rows shifted to the right, and the ones shifted to the left are here. So as you remember, there's about 100,000 rows here. We're about just past halfway. This is actually an interesting way to structure your data flow. Everything going down is straight through, and then to the right, bad records. And there we go. We actually have an error. So we got that far, 85,000, and something happened here. All right. So what happened? Let's have a look. Package execution. Let's go to execution results. And so we've got warnings. Here's the error. There we go. So what does it say here? Flat file source outputs. So the truncation row disposition on failed because truncation occurred. And so it tells you that the column was the address column. All right, let's go back and fix this up. Before we fix it up though, one thing we have to do is, because this failed, we have to go to our database, which is here, and find this file. So refresh, fake names UK, select top 1000 rows, and now we know it failed, so we're gonna have to redo it. So right away, let's get rid of the data in this file. We're going to truncate table and execute. So we got rid of the data in the file. So if we in the table, if we select the top 1000 rows, there's nothing, because obviously we're going to re-upload. We don't want duplicates. Very important to do that. All right, cool. So that is going to have to be rerun. We know that the problem is in the address column. So let's go ahead and open this up. We remember that it's Flat File Connection Manager 1. Let's find it here. And here we're going to have to go to Advanced Address and change this to, let's say, 5,000. Now, at the same time, I wanted to share an extra trick here. We know that address can't be 5,000, can't even be 1,000 symbols. That's just ridiculous. It can't be a proper address. Something is wrong with the address. So we're going to add an extra condition into our bad records. So bad records over here. We're going to say that we want anything with an address which is too long to also be considered bad record. So here we're going to add another condition. We're going to say or len of, let's find that column so we don't have to type it up, address, right, is greater. Let's say what's reasonable for an address, 10, 20, 30, maybe 100. So anything over 200 symbols for an address is definitely wrong, and we want to exclude it. So click OK. So what will happen now is that we need to update the source and the connection manager. Okay, cool. So we want to just make sure that everything is good. All right. So what will happen now is that the column will be read, or that record will be read by the flat file source. It will go past this. It won't go past this. Here it will go into the error, so it won't end up in the database. And that is just an example of how you can add your own conditions into these conditional splits. You might want to take that address and actually put it into a different file. You can also do that. You can add any conditions that you like that are governed by the knowledge you have of the data set. So that's all good. Let's go ahead and save that and run it again, and hopefully this time it will run better. So once again, let's zoom in. And we're coming near the end. So there we go. Everything looks good. Awesome. So 99,731, 5 bad records, and we can probably find our very long address in here as well. So before we do all of that, let's go and do the main thing that we have to do. We have to stop the debugging all these things if you're going to make sure put the data back in. Then these ones, some shifts occurred and so on. Like we talked about text qualifiers a lot before, so we won't go back to the row file. If you want to investigate each one separately, you go back to the row file and you find that row number, understand what happened, and insufficient data. So here we've got quite a lot of rows, which includes both insufficient data and corrupted records shifted to the left. And once again, you might, you got the numbers here. So actually some of them don't have the numbers. Like this one actually doesn't have a number, and you can still investigate those further, understand what happened, or send it back to the correct person. But basically, this is our ETL phases 1 and 2 done. As you could see, we had a few errors, and we were able to deal with them properly. Okay, so I trust you went well.